Hi everyone. Okay, we are going to begin with our foam roller behind us. So you can just sit with your foam roller kind of just behind you and just take a moment, place your hands on the ground, on your knees, or even maybe on your foam roller. Sometimes I like to just kind of open the chest here to begin. Just taking a deep breath in, maybe closing the eyes to reduce the stimulus coming in. Maybe you just stepped away from working at your screen. Maybe you just snuck away from the kids or whoever else, and you're taking some time for you to connect with your body. So just take a moment to really let go or let be all those other things and bring yourself into the present here. We're going to start by rolling out the back. So you can have that roller directly behind you. If you have your mat out, it will look like across the short end of the mat. And then just go ahead and gently lean your middle back onto the roll, and then clasping your hands by interlacing the fingers. Place those behind the neck or at the base of the skull so you can catch the weight of your head. And just keep your tailbone on the ground, knees bent for a moment. And just expand your chest. So let your elbows widen. As you tune into your breath, you might want to add a little bit of just gentle adjustment, kind of moving to find that exact right place for you. For me, the roll, I feel the pressure like on the shoulder blades, and that feels good to me. If it's okay in your lower back, you might extend your legs long for a moment and just let out a sigh. Kind of notice how that feels. You could also just stretch one arm out for a moment, letting your throat open, letting your head kind of invert. Just be mindful of this. Be careful. Notice what feels good for you. Switch sides. Letting the other arm open. You're letting your chest muscles release on that free arm. Maybe you circle your wrists a little here. And then as you're ready, just tucking your chin towards your chest. Bring the feet flat onto the mat, so knees are bent. Now we're going to lift up a little, almost like in a little mini bridge position, so that we feel the weight, so that we can begin rolling the upper back. So keep mindful of your feet. You can always walk your feet closer to your sitting bones or further away as needed. And tune into your breath. You want to roll out kind of the entire back. It's mostly actually the middle to upper back. The way to get into the lower body, a little bit more of the lower back, is to engage your core a little bit more and lift your pelvis higher. And then it kind of feels like a little bit of a crunch, so do be mindful of the head and neck here. And then let's go ahead and drop the tailbone back to the mat and take a little bit of a twist. So drop both knees over to one side. So if you're dropping your knees now to the right, extend your left arm out. And like we did earlier, you can circle the wrists a little bit more. Just kind of let this left arm feel where it connects with your chest, your shoulder, and take a breath into that space. Then come back up, knees to center, chin to chest. Take it to the other side. Readjust the roll as needed. Dropping your knees to the left-hand side. Release the right arm. And so you're kind of draping yourself over the roll as much as feels good for you. For me, I want to wiggle down a little bit sometimes as my body starts to awaken. Make sure that your left hip is grounded on the mat here. And then slowly return to center. Roll yourself all the way up now to seated. And bring that roller around under your knees. So we're going to be rolling out the calves next. So you can have both of your legs on top of the roller, or you can just take one foot down. I like to have my fingers facing forward, or some people prefer out to the side. Just be mindful what's best for your wrists. Spread your fingers out wide so you're making a nice connection. Your hands are stacked under your shoulders. And then lift your body up and begin to roll your calf muscle. And rotate your leg that you're rolling. So rotate it kind of like side to side so that you're getting some attention in that split of the muscle, the two different muscles on the back of the leg here. Nice. So I kind of, as a rule, I stick to about 5 breaths or 5 rolls. Sometimes you could do more, of course. Switching legs now. That's just kind of my general rule. 1 one for each element. I like the number 5 a lot. Rotating this leg now. We're kind of rolling the long way down the bone, but then we're also at the same time kind of waving the foot side to side like a clock face, like the hands on a clock. And of course, noticing if you're holding your breath, just take a deeper one the next time. And then go ahead and just rest your shoulders for a minute. Sometimes this is a lot on our wrists, so do a few circles here. You can also do a nice little finger stretch where you pull your fingers towards the floor. Really nice forearm release, so you use your other fingers to pull down. So your palm is facing forward, your forearm is facing up. And you can use this sequence to kind of plan your own sequence in the future. So sometimes I like to do both legs at once. If I just feel like I need a quicker kind of roll through all of this and I feel strong, it's a nice core exercise as well, rolling both calves. Sometimes we do have a differential, so one side kind of needs more special attention, so it can be nice to work each leg one at a time. So roll that roller up so we can work the backs of the thighs now, the hamstrings. So it's a nice easy roll here. So you're just rolling, breathing. And what's nice about this tool is it really just like gives sort of a gentle, way of connecting with each area of the body, and then kind of thinking about where the muscle connects in and where it connects to the next joint. So in this case, hips and knees. So we did about a 5 roll here. So then we're going to go ahead and do the sides of the legs. So for this one, I'm going to start on the right side. A couple of different arm positions. Start with the roller right kind of at the top of your hip bone where there is some soft muscular flesh. Your right leg is going to stay extended. This left leg is going to come in front. So this is stabilizing and your foot is flat. Right arm can be here and left hand could just be on your hip. This is to roll the IT band. Just move my hand a little more. So consider that when you roll, you'll be moving. You want to be able to end up so that the shoulder is not going too far over the wrist. So that's a good position. And breathe. So you're wanting to really get that IT band, which is along the side of the leg. A different version here is to be low, and you could, if you can tolerate it, you can roll both feet, kind of like you're in a side plank. When you're finished with that, coming up, and you're just going to roll the glutes. So keep both knees pointing to the right. I've got my left hand down here on the floor as well. This tends to open the chest, the shoulders a little bit, so breathe into that. So really just kind of rolling that lower back, sacrum, and top of the glutes there on the right side. And then switch to the other side. So you'll lean your hips to the left. And just rolling out the side. Draw the breath in, really just like your yoga practice. Mindful of how your breath rhythm is today, where it gets a little sticky, where your mind maybe wanders. There may be some good information there. I'm going to spin around. We're doing the left side now, the IT band. So I'll show it on this side a little differently. Otherwise, you do the same thing as the prior side. I like the forearm version and stacking the ankles. And then rolling out. And I can use this right hand, this top arm, as a stabilizer. We do have a different story from side to side in our body, and so once you know that, right, you know how to modify. So otherwise you're just rolling. And in this case, we're trying to get right to the knee, up to the hip. So just being careful, paying attention to those particularities in your body. All right, one of my favorite is next. We're gonna roll over and do the quads, so the fronts of the thighs. So belly faces down. And I like to just do a little forearm plank to get adjusted. So the roll starts well above the knees, and then we're on our elbows here. You can catch and check the distance by holding. And then really just notice, I like to point my toes here. You can point and flex and just compare. And as you're here, just engage your abs a little bit. So notice I could just let things kind of sag, or I can give and offer more stability by using the front muscles of the body. And then it's best to just gaze down, keep the neck in neutral. And really find that length. So you might start to like kind of explore going higher, right to the top of the pubic bone even. Right to the top of the kneecaps is where I like to stop. Also, you can play with bending the legs. We get a little arm strengthening here, which is nice. And then sometimes it's nice to have a rest. So I usually just come down. I know this looks a little funny. You can come right down onto your chest and just drop your head onto your hands or onto the mat and take a few breaths. Really soften your belly and just allow yourself to kind of open the back body, open some spaces that might be a little vulnerable feeling, but it's really nice for the belly and the whole front of the pelvis, the chest, the rib cage. Nice job. Okay, so coming up, you can always take longer and go back and revisit that one at the end. We're going to roll the fronts of the shins now, so bring your hands under your shoulders and bring yourself up. You can really do this in any kind of way that you want. We're going to bring our knees onto the roll. Make any adjustments. Finding a tabletop. So we're going to roll the shins by pulling in and pushing back. So it's just from the knees to the ankles this time. So you're kind of bringing yourself into that little ball shape with a little bit of arm and back strength. You can always step your hands a little forward if you want to get down onto the fronts of those ankles even. Okay, nice. So this next part is optional if you like. It's going to be a little bit more core work. So you're going to roll it out and be in a plank pose. So obviously, the further I have this out, the more challenging, right? If I have it on the tops of my feet, this is a nice challenging plank. If I want to make it a little less challenging, I'm bringing it back in to the shins, and even of course to the tabletop is going to be the easiest. Let's actually start in a tabletop. So just knowing you have those options to work more core strength into it. Keeping your right toes curled under, extend your left leg back. Adjust so your hands are under your wrists. And now take your right arm forward. This is developing core stability. So I'm trying to energize out through the left heel and out through the right fingertips. Feeling the body get warmer here. Go ahead and exhale, drop down. Coming into a child's pose. Really, you could do this whenever you need to, but now's a good time to show. Take the knees a little bit wide, big toes touch. The roller goes forward. You have a couple of options. You can just have it on the forearms and drop your head down. Or my favorite is to place the elbows on the roll and then just kind of scooch it forward till I feel a good stretch here along the serratus side of the body. And you might actually just keep it here where you rest your head on the roller. Or if you want a deeper stretch, pushing it forward and dropping the head down. And those nice full deep breaths really are the gift, right? The gift of the release and just presence with yourself. Slowly bring it back up, kind of roll. You can always roll out the forearms here a little bit. And let's come back, we'll do the other side. So keeping the right toes down, I'm going to curl the left leg back. I switch sides, but you don't have to. Take your right arm forward. As you breathe, imagine your energy radiating out your heel and out through your fingertips. Core is stabilizing, kind of the natural way. If you want more of a challenge, try taking those right toes off the floor. Notice how much more stability is required and asks more of our core muscles, abdominals. Bringing it in. Nice job. Pause here. a little bit more core work. This part is always optional. One of my favorite ways to work the core is here. Sorry, it's a hairdo issue. I'm going to go back to the other side. So one of my favorite ways to work the core is using the foam roller here. And we're going to begin with the right leg forward. So I have it on the mat right now. As we get set up, it's that same position, hands under the shoulders. But we're going to hover the right knee and then switch leg. So right leg goes back as I press down into the roller with that left foot. It's really working. You guys know this. So full body engagement, inner thigh, hugging in. Do one more, two more if you can. And then the best part is you get a little pigeon pose. You get to rest here with your right knee forward. Situate it so that sometimes I have to let this roll away a little bit. You can lift yourself up, square yourself off, hips to the front of the mat, and then sink in and sink down for a moment. Remember to invite those audible exhales that really just help release any tension, extra tension that we may not even be aware we're holding. You can stay here longer if you'd like. Otherwise, we're going to work the other leg. So as you come back up carefully onto your knee, we'll switch the legs. So you have left foot forward, right leg on the roller. Just gonna make sure it's level. I'm getting in that strong position here, just honoring that one side of the body might be different. You might know this already, but also being open to balance and how it's showing up today. Hovering that left leg in and then switching, exhale, draw it back. So there's a lot of power in that left leg, but both legs are sharing the work. We've got two more. Just notice lots of energy from center, everything working together. And the left leg comes forward. You may have to scooch this out. Square your hips. I like to lift and roll my shoulders back and maybe even look up. Just kind of reframe everything. Keep the chest open and then hinging forward, walk it down and rest in your pigeon for 5 breaths. Feel free to stack the hands or place your forehead right on the mat. Stay aware of the front foot by wiggling the toes a little just for awareness. Check in with your heart center. The back of your heart is receiving the breath here, as well as the left hip. Preparing to press back up as you're ready. And we'll go ahead and come into a deer pose with the left leg in front. I guess we're going to focus on the left leg. So the left leg is bent and folded in, and the right leg is behind. We'll bring the roller over to the left side. So we've got left knee forward, roller by the left knee. So a couple of things we can do here, just a nice simple side stretch. We're going to roll out. I've got this under my left forearm, and then the right arm is lengthening over into a side stretch. You can also point down here, and this could be another place to like linger if you want to kind of stay stretched out, or add like some rolling for your forearms. As we get into gardening season, this might be more and more important. Or you could continue to work this kind of as an oblique stretch where you come up and over, try to keep real awareness at the center of your body, your pelvic floor, and you can come back and down. This gives a nice stretch for the right hip. Kind of touch the back of the mat or your right foot, and then as you exhale, you're rolling forward and into that side stretch, but still keeping that right hip grounded. So maybe just one more like that. Feel free to do it slower or faster. And then I like to just work it the other way. So right hand by the right foot, sort of in front of the ankle on the ground, and then inhale, draw that left arm up and over. And maybe just stay here. You can also place your hand behind your head and look up at your elbow just to open the side body from the other side. Nicely done. Come back to center, bringing both legs in front. And we'll scissor it the other way. So right side, you have your roller and your bent knee. And I've always called this deer pose. There are some other names for it. You can use the edge of your mat to kind of check that it's parallel to your right shin. And you should feel this, I feel this a lot in my left hip. It opens our leg in a different way. So we have our chest turning towards the right side. Sometimes it just feels good to do some of those rollouts first on the forearms, kind of exhaling, or you can just roll out and stay. This is up to you. You might just linger here for a moment, but try to keep your weight pulling down towards the earth in the back hip. If we're doing the same thing on the other side, we're going to roll out here on the right forearm, bringing that left arm up and over. Start to feel really long and open here. Keep lots of awareness through that left hip and kind of pressing it down to the floor. You may have one hip flexor that's stronger than the other. This may show up here. Exhaling in, this is core work. Remember, we're stabilizing through not just our core like our abs, but really our spinal muscles, all the smaller muscles, the pelvic floor especially too. So think of that as you're extending here. This is when you want to kind of hug all of those muscles in, around, and up. The hammock of muscles at the base of your body. Nice. So then left hand to the mat by the left ankle. And inhale into this, draw your right arm over. Stay with the stretch here if you'd like. Just check in with all those little places, maybe looking up. And just feeling the rhythm of your breath, just connecting. No need to really change, just trust that your rhythm is good for you today. Coming out of this pose, let's bring the feet into knees bent, and let's slide the roller once again under. And then let your feet go together. Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. Sometimes more like a tortoise here. When we have the support of the roller, it's very nice to really help us ground through the pelvis. So as you're just sitting here catching your breath, notice those inside muscles and just lift them. As you exhale, you want to like flex them a little bit and just kind of engage and notice where they are. And then from here, we walk the hands forward. So as you're inhaling, try to keep the neck long, the head reaching, and the shoulders pulling down the back, and be hinging forward from your waist. Palms can go down here to the ground, and then start to let your head bow. And in the next few breath cycles, really nourish your heart center from all sides. So picture those spaces in your back that don't get as much attention, that just lean against a chair or just support you and hold tension, or that you lay on at night, and just really direct some energy there for refreshment. Feel yourself rounding. If you're thinking of that tortoise pose, kind of like you're in your shell here, it's okay to go inside and just take a look around and be here with yourself for a moment or two more. You should feel sensations probably along the outer thigh, the IT band, down the legs perhaps, and also in the lower back, the sacrum. So spend one more breath if you'd like. And then really slowly allow yourself to rise back up to seated. And bring your legs together. We're going to move on to the roller using it in the long direction, so it happens to already be set up for me. So I'm going to roll that to the middle of the mat and then come to a balance, getting onto the roller. So I want to have my sacrum on the roll. I'm short, so I have plenty of space here, and I want to also have the head on the roll. And as you arrive here, see if you can just put your elbows down, point your fingers to the sky, and just take a moment to orient yourself. It may not feel perfectly comfortable at first. Your feet are about hip distance apart, and you want to be able to feel as though your feet are kind of under your knees. Sometimes I need to check by walking them all the way together and then heel toeing out wider. So just finding this position and then extending your arms up towards the ceiling. Now we want the palms facing each other, and we're just going to be doing a little shoulder work here. So it looks like you're looking up at the sky, and as you inhale, round the back a little bit and reach your arms, and then as you exhale, you just move your shoulder blades. So try to keep the arms completely straight, no bend in the elbows. And as you inhale, you round a little bit, but keep your head and neck kind of out of the pose. Just try to work by lifting and loosening around your shoulder blades. These muscles are connected also to your serratus muscle. Bring your attention also to your pelvic floor though, where your tailbone is. Start to notice those interior muscles again, how they hug and support and stabilize. Do a couple here, one more, maybe two more. And then keeping where you are, extend your arms long. I like to think of this as like sun salutation arms. Sun sal arms are, sweeping down and around, keeping the arms really firm and having them work together. Of course, we all have a dominant hand, and sort of, you might notice, I notice in myself, one arm wants to kind of race ahead. It's the stronger one maybe, but how can this just be really smooth and balanced today? And let the breath lead the rhythm. And then we'll go ahead and reverse the direction. So palms are facing up as you sweep out. Keep those lower body muscles engaged, those pelvic floor muscles. And if you're not sure kind of what are those pelvic floor muscles again, those muscles, I like to think of it as sort of a half moon shape, starting with the anal muscles, vaginal or scrotal muscles, and then bladder muscles deep inside in that order. So anal muscles, you can feel those flex, vaginal muscles, scrotal muscles, and then bladder muscles kind of more towards the front in the pubic bone area. Nice job. So just take a moment to notice yourself here. I like to go back to knife's edge, or this is just with the fingers kind of free and the elbows on the ground. And then you can just roll a little bit side to side as you feel comfortable. I usually turn my feet and walk it a little wider. And then I'm just kind of walking to kind of roll side to side. All right, and then walk both your feet off to one side. You've got to come to half sitting here, but then we'll swing the roller around so we have it underneath the knees. And then we'll be going down onto the back. So laying down, so I can see, okay. Let's have our feet hip distance apart, moving up into a bridge pose now. So you can lift up and slide that roller under the curve of your lower back. So into the lumbar curve. Just take a moment to adjust, and then bring your feet off the floor. And this is where it's a good place to check in and say, does it feel good? So you can do a few ankle circles here, and then we'll extend the legs to the sky. This again is a place where you just need to wiggle around. I always need to get my upper back smooth. Just enjoy an inversion here. Take some circles. You could rest your hands on your belly or just by your sides or even out into a T position, whatever feels good to you. Change the direction of your ankle circles now, just really sweeping out and feeling. And then let's go ahead and pull the left knee into the chest. So we're going to extend the right leg. It could stay here, really hovering or reaching. Heel could rest on the floor. It's a nice deep stretch for your hip flexor. Or if you need a little gentler, just bend that right knee. And then just rocking a little bit gently, side to side into your left hip. You are inverted here, meaning that your heart is higher than your head, so the blood flow is reversed. We get all the great benefits of an inversion. So enjoy that and make sure to breathe. We're going to move into a twist. So gently pull this right knee across your body. Let your left arm come out, palm faces up. This leg, sometimes I tuck it behind, but in the foam roller it doesn't really reach. Sometimes I also just extend it straight out. I happen to have the wall right here. That gives me a really nice stretch. So you can kind of use the wall if it happens to be near you. Or sometimes like the edge of a couch or a large piece of furniture, you can get a really nice extra deep stretch on your left side of your leg. Bend it back in and slowly return to center. Pull both knees into the chest and we'll switch it out. Left leg goes long. Remember, keep it here for gentle or extend it all the way long if it works for you. Soften those shoulder blades. Really enjoy this time here. A little bit of movement through your right hip now as you move side to side. And then bringing that right knee across the body here. I don't have the wall this time. Right arm extends. I'm trying to just really work a nice twist, some deep opening through that right shoulder. And just extending. Sometimes it's nice to go from bend to extend, or just be still. Draw your breath from your tailbone to your crown. Feel a softening in the belly. Slowly make your way back to center. Pull both knees in. Readjust the roll if you need to, otherwise extend those legs again. You could go into a shoulder stand now if that's in your practice, if that's available to you, or you could just stay here. It's also nice to sometimes just do a wide V shape with the legs. You're just taking it out. You can bring your hands to your inner thighs and kind of pull a little bit more yin style. Hold. You could also do some scissoring where you cross one leg and you alternate. If you're doing these, the main work is to really train those inner thighs to engage. So I suggest pointing your toes, thinking of your core beginning in the arch of your foot and that you're activating the arch. Then your inner thighs, then your pelvic floor comes into it. You can also do the scissoring this way. So dropping one leg low and switching. So take these next 5 breaths or so to pick something that works nicely for you today, whether it's the still point, like supported shoulder stand right here, or the scissoring. You might also want to just add a little grab, almost like a Pilates moment here, where you feel a nice deep stretch in your legs. And I will show shoulder stand for those that want to or have done this before, feel comfortable. Another option too is just to drop your feet and just rest. Your pelvis will be elevated. You're still getting the benefits of an inversion here. And this is just really restorative for the body. So that one is a great option. If you do want the shoulder stand, this is a supported shoulder stand, so you could hang here. Sometimes I just like to do the full thing. So bring the elbows in nice and close and use a little bit of momentum to bring yourself into your posture. Try to keep a little space. Make sure your neck is okay here. And really engage up through the big toes. Making any adjustments to where your hands are on your body. And try not to look at the video during this part. You should just look right towards your pubic bone or right up towards your feet. When you are ready to release, some of you may want to try plow pose. I would say just go really gently, bring your legs down, and just see if it's there for you today. You can also take a wide leg version. That's kind of how I like to start, just because my lower back gets a little cranky sometimes. So work with this one carefully. Obviously, don't look at the video, watch this first, and then come back and try it. You could spend longer here. When you're ready, allow yourself to come very carefully and slowly back to the roll or to the mat. It's really up to you. I like to come back to the roll and then lower the feet slowly, one at a time. Taking a moment to just breathe and let the body begin to integrate. We'll move into a Shavasana, or corpse pose next. So I slowly like to move the roll down so it's right underneath the knees. And then just let your body find that nice shape as if you were floating gently in a comfortable, beautiful, natural body of water. Feel free to rock your head a little bit side to side. Letting the hands become nice and heavy. Palms are open. No tension in any of the fingers. Just noticing any of the large muscle groups and letting them all begin to soften. So whole back body, the thighs, the lower legs. You can also rest with the soles of the feet together in like a nice lazy Baddha Konasana. That feels better on your back. If you want more for the upper body, you can always bring your hands into a diamond shape above the head. This really opens the shoulders and kind of shows that full surrender, kind of like when you're a baby and you had no worries. Notice the breath in the nostrils as your body finds its natural breathing rhythm. Take just another minute at least. And to be here, to be still. Just observing any sensations, becoming the witness of your own experience now. You could continue to rest right here. I'd like to close the video. Thank you all for watching. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.